going on, everybody? I'm Eric Ringel.
And I'm Janelle Ringel.
And this is the Reality Breakdown. So what's going on, you guys? Big Brother 25 started this evening. We had the season premiere, and I would have to say, very interesting premiere.
Yeah.
We've been, they've been talking about that this is going to be the most mixed up Big Brother season yet, and we get that.
I feel like they say that every time.
You have to say it, because what are you going to go into the season going, oh, it's going to be like, season 15. We're going to make it exactly like that.
They want it to be the most exciting ever.
Yeah, so, tagline was most unpredictable season ever, and... so we obviously, which I will say, the one thing I did like is we got introduced to all 16 house guests right away instead of like eight being introduced to us, and then they get to go into the house for a little while, and then the other 8 get introduced, and then they go into the house, and I don't know. I liked all 16 getting introduced at one time, basically at one time.
Yeah.
So we got all 16 house guests introduced. We'll talk a little bit about the house guests here in a little bit. But as they let all 16 house guests in, they let them in groups of 4.
Yeah.
So each group of 4 had to pick one of 4 different games that they were going to play. Now, one of the first twists that we got introduced to was that there are 4 different multiverses in the Big Brother house. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to work.
Yeah. And I was noticing like the different rooms,
I thought that was going to be what was going to play a part in this.
I think it will. Because they were saying about the different multiverses and all the different rooms, and I feel like maybe what room you're in can determine certain things. I don't know. I kind of got that feel.
That was the way that I had felt from when they first introduced the rooms. I was like, oh, okay. So depending on what room you choose, each of you have to choose a different room.
Yeah, if you're naming a room, I feel like there's a reason.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of reason. Yeah. Which there was only one room I don't think they didn't show us. But we'll go over the 4 names of the different multiverses that they have. So they have the Scrambleverse, the Humiliverse, the BB Comic Multiverse, and then the Scary Multiverse. Sounds like they didn't try on at least 2 of those. You get Scramble and Scary.
I feel like I could have named those better. Whatever.
I mean, when you've got a writer's strike going on in Hollywood,
that's true.
I'm sure that they were just trying to half-ass it as best as they could.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they kind of incorporated BB Comic and the Humiliverse, because the Humilitard, we get those on a constant every season. So you have those 4 multiverses, and then we basically learned the first multiverse that was going to kind of give us the first twist of the game, and that was going to be the Scramble multiverse. So it was very interesting. Once all the competitors chose their, which game they wanted to play, which was each group of 4, each of them had to choose a different game. We then learned, after everybody was stationed with what game they were going to play, we find out what the first multiverse is.
Yeah.
So the first multiverse was this Scramble multiverse. Now, do you want to talk a little bit about what the twist of the game was with the Scramble multiverse?
I don't remember which one was the first.
So the first one was the Scramble multiverse, and so it basically changed up. So typically when they play a game, like a game at the very beginning of the season, it sets who the head of household is. But what we learned was, because the Scramble multiverse was in line, it basically meant the loser of each game is up for eviction.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little drawn out for me. And I got a little lost at parts. I feel like it could have been more simplified and just, boom, boom, bam. I get it. They have to have lots of commercials. They have to make it a whole big thing. But I got a little lost there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna... Like, they drew it out way too long. Like, I feel like it could have been so... it's the easiest explanation you could have possibly given, which is... You're scrambling it up. This week, in this game, instead of setting head of household, is going to set the eviction, the people that are going to be up for eviction. That's it. Like, you don't need, like, this big, long, drawn-out, like, explanation. Yeah. Like, Julie was like, well, typically we play for head of household, and... we play it in parts, and I'm like...
Yeah, there were times where I got a little bored, and I was kind of looking at my phone a little bit, so I should have been doing that, but,
Yeah, so we find out that the loser of each of these competitions was going to be up for eviction. So basically, we have 4 people that are up for eviction now.
Yeah. Now, if I... finally got in the BB house, which that's something that we've wanted to do for a long time.
Yeah.
And this was my first, I finally got in there and they're like, oh, we're playing 4 competitions and there's going to be 4 people up for nomination. I'm like, I'd be like, of course there is. Like, that's my season. I'd be pissed.
I mean, I would be pissed, but I like this twist just because now whoever the head of household is, whenever they do play the head of household competition, like, it's going to be up to them. Like, if they start building alliances, they're obviously going to start talking alliances and games, as the night progresses. But it'll be interesting to see whoever wins head of household, what alliances they've already built and who they're going to try to protect.
Well, and the first household, I mean, there's already 4 nominations up there. So is it going to stay like that? Is it going to change? Like, if it stays like that, then that's a huge weight off their shoulder. Like, I don't have to put a target on my back and nominate people. Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best saving grace for the head of household this week is he's not going to have to set the original nominations. Or she. Yeah, he or she won't have to set the original nominations. Now, where it may get a little squirrely... And where he or she could put a target on their back would be... sorry, I'm just so used to saying he. Where he or she could put a target on their back is if somebody wins power of veto and pulls himself down, then you're going to have to list a new nominee.
If you have to name one person,
you'll live. But so let's run down the competition. So the first competition was... So they had Each lane had a magazine set up as basically a puzzle piece. And they had to move the puzzle pieces back to the box itself and put it in there perfectly to where each piece fit the way it should. So you had Jared, America, Bowie Jane, and Nicole were the four contestants during this one. Initially watching the start of this, I really thought Bowie Jane was going to end up being the one up on the block because she was moving extremely slow. Nicole, they need to warn house guests about wearing heels.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. Like, I get, you want to surprise them, do a competition right away. But these girls wearing heels trying to run around, that's not really fair.
Like, that, I think...
Let them change their shoes or something.
Like, I really thought that was going to hamper her enough that, like, she was going to end up being the one going up. But it ended up being that Jared was the one that went up on the block first, as he's the one that finishes last. Now, something interesting that we learned from Jared during all the house guest introductions was... Which... is interesting to say the least, that his mother is Sherry from Survivor. She's played 4 seasons on Survivor, never won it.
She looked familiar to me. I've watched Survivor on and off. I can't say that I really know who she was, but she looked familiar. I'm sure I've seen her on one of the seasons. I don't know. But it took me a minute to put it together.
Yeah, it took me quite a bit to put it together. But so... Out of this group, I gotta say for me, I'm a big fan of Bowie Jane. She's 45 years old. She's a lawyer slash judge.
Yeah.
And then on top
DJ,
of that, DJ. She's moved from Australia to Los Angeles. Like,
yeah.
I'm interested to see about her. I'm also interested to see about America. She's.
I think I'm gonna like America. She seems like she's a good game player. I mean, she finished pretty good.
Yeah, she was first finisher in this. I think
I'm gonna be a fan of her.
She seemed very, her family are both immigrants from out of the country. They brought, they had her here. She's first generation American. She seems very likable right now. Obviously, we've been through one episode.
Yeah, it's too early to tell.
It's too early to tell. McCole's interesting because she's...
Yeah, I really like McCole.
Yeah, McCole so far so good. She seems really
driven,
really headstrong, really like she's ready to take charge.
Yeah.
Jared, I'm not so sure about.
See, I'm a fan of Jared. When I first saw him when they were playing the thing, I was like, man, like he just seems like he has such a great personality. I don't know. I feel like I'm not saying he'd be the best game player, but just personality wise, I think I really like him.
Yeah, I've yet to really set like a good feeling about him. Like I said, I liked Bowie Jane. I like her story. I like how she's coming in. She's not going to tell him that she's a judge slash lawyer. She's... My only concern with her is the amount of lies she's going into the house telling. So
that can get difficult.
Did you catch the other lie she was going to tell?
What's that?
So during the competition, right before her competition started, she talked about how she was going to lie about her age as well.
Oh yeah.
And say she's already got the birth date that she's going to use memorized. Like I don't.
It gets messy. You have I always tell myself this from an early age. Just be honest. The more lies you tell, the more you have to remember.
Yeah.
Just be you. Just don't. I mean, I get it. You're in the Big Brother house. You want to hide your profession. I get that. But don't keep stacking up so many things that you have to remember. Like, okay, this and this and this. You're going to mess it up.
Yeah. Eventually that could slip up. Mm-hmm. You could slip up to the wrong person and that costs you your game.
I don't really think that's that big of a difference. I don't think her age would really... I don't think it would change anything. Is someone going to target her because she's 40 instead of 30?
I don't know. I mean, that's always it's always a slight possibility in Big Brother.
If anything, they're going to underestimate you more. If they think you're older, they're like, "Oh, she's in her 40s. I can beat her."
That was why I was like when she said it. I
don't really think it's a good lie.
When she said it, I kind of questioned. I'm like, why are you lying about that? Like that's one of the few things I would never I wouldn't lie about.
No.
So then moving on to group number 2, it was the Humiliverse competition. They basically had to get kicked in the butt 100 times.
That was funny.
They had to use this little machine that
I liked that.
Kicked their butt 100 times. So in this competition, you had Blue, Hissam, Matt, and Kirsten. Kirsten ends up being the one that gets up or is going up for nomination.
Oh, that's right.
Matt looked like he had this one. Matt and Hissam both had this.
I'm like trying so hard to remember names to faces right now. Okay.
So Matt's
like the blonde.
Yeah, Matt's blonde curly haired guy that's deaf, which was he's a deaf swimmer. I liked his story. I didn't like the fact that he's talking about showmances and his.
I feel like you kind of seal your fate when you already are going into it with your focus lost.
Yeah,
when you're going into it and you're like, oh well, if I get in a showmance, I do. No, you got to go in with the game plan. Don't already think that you're gonna get in a showmance.
Yeah, it's really. You're putting a target on your back by doing that or by, potentially showing that off in the house. But I did like Matt's story. It was really cool.
Yeah.
This was one of those groups all around, all 4 of them. I really didn't know Kirsten too much, but like Matt, I liked. Heesam, I liked to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think Blue, I was kind of like, just from what they showed of like,
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about whether Blue's really going to be able to play this game like it needs to be played. She didn't strike me as like this huge like master manipulator or somebody that could lie really well. Like,
but I mean, it's Big Brother. That may may work for her.
Yeah, it may absolutely work for her. So you had Matt, Heesam, and Blue all move on, and they're all through. Then moving on to number 3, you had the BB Comic multiverse, which this game was. They had different lengths of wire that they had to connect to this globe. First one to get all their wires connected, it would blow up in their face.
Blow the goo.
And from Dr. Goo. I was like, oh my God. Like, really, the writer's strike is killing everybody. I'm not lying.
That's funny.
But it was kind of funny. So in this group, you had Jax, Izzy, Cameron, and Felicia. You can tell, looking through all of the house guests so far, you can tell that they're still trying to fit the mold that they have every season, which is they've got to have the older person.
They have to have all the boxes checked, the country guy, the this, the that, which I get, but I feel like that's so unnecessary. Like, just get, I mean, of course you want, some diversity in there and you want some different, personalities and all that, but I don't think it has to be so defined. Like, it's literally very defined every season.
Yeah, like you can, you can literally tell who fits into each and every mold. Yeah. And, Jax, I actually like him so far.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's going to do really well. He showed that he's a really good game player.
Yeah, he finished first in this group.
He's really smart from what his story showed.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do really well.
Yeah,
he might be like that quiet guy that just kind of listens and fills everybody out,
I'm interested because, we always get that 1 or 2 people that are playing for a specific reason, and Jax fits that mold this season.
Yeah.
Which he's playing for the Sikh community. Mm-hmm. Him and his family were the first Sikhs in his city of, I can't remember what it was. It was in Washington. So that's really interesting. And we don't see a lot of like people of the Sikh religion, that out there. And so this is a really good chance to, I think, learn more about about them and about Jax for that matter. Izzy, I'm like...
Who is that?
So Izzy's the one that got the major and flute playing.
Major and flute?
Yeah, remember we were sitting...
Oh, yeah, because I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, okay, I know who that is now. Big personality. She's from New York, I think.
Yeah, she was from New York.
Okay, I know who it is now.
But we both sat there when she said she got a major in flute. We both looked at each other and
you spent money on
you spent money to get that? And she was like, wait, you can actually get a major? Thing? You can get a major in that?
Not knocking anybody. If you have a major in flute,
more power to you.
Good for you.
But I feel like that, like, are you really paying debt to play the flute?
It's a crazy world. Crazy world.
Yeah, I guess. So then you had Cameron, which...
Is he the young guy?
Yeah. So Cameron is the Danny Masterson lookalike. It's really weird for me knowing who Danny Masterson is as a person now, and to look at Cameron, I can't get it out of my mind.
You will as you get to know his.
Yeah, I'm sure. And Cameron is a single dad or separated. He's got a daughter.
Oh, no, he's not the young one.
Yeah. So he's got a daughter. He's separated from his wife, girlfriend. He's and one of the other things I noticed, a lot of former military in this season. Yeah, I like
that. I actually really like that. I wish they would do more of that.
Yeah, they have a lot of former people from the military. And then Felicia's the one that goes up on the block the 60-year-old mother.
I like her. I feel like she's gonna put a lot of people in check. Like she's gonna be like that, that sassy mother in the house that's gonna put a lot of people in their place, and she's not gonna take any shit. Yeah, which I think I'm gonna like her.
I think I'm gonna like her too. I'm just like I said, Big Brother typecasting. I don't know if I necessarily need the older person on the show. I'm not saying it needs to be all 20-something, 20 and 30-something year old people, but like
we don't always have to have the one this, the one that. Like you could have a couple older people on the show. That would be okay.
Yeah, like it's just when you're pushing upwards of 60 years old, because I'm assuming. Yeah. But just from this first competition, you want somebody that's going to be able to push for a potential head of household. Like you want there to be like, if she's in a house and it's like 10 people left, that she could be one of the 9 that may get, head of household one week. And like I said, it's one show. I may be totally wrong about this, and that's all well and good. I hope I am. I just don't know if I needed it. I mean, I may like her, and I've liked other old people that have ended up on the show. I've loved Kevin.
You've loved all of them.
I've literally loved every older person.
What was the country guy that we love so much? What's his name? Blanking.
Yeah, I'm blanking too.
Y'all know who we're talking about.
But I've loved Kevin. I loved Kevin from what was it, season 18, I think it was. The old, like, mobster-looking old guy.
From one of Paul's seasons.
Yeah, from one of Paul's...
Donnie,
that's right.
We love Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie's so cool. I love Donnie. Mm-hmm. And then the very last group was the Scary Verse, which this game played differently than the other 3. So you had Dave, Riley, Corey, and Red, and in this game they had something that was pulling on them.
Yeah, this one was really cool. I liked this one. And
then whoever let go first was going to go up for eviction.
Yeah.
But it was basically a grip strength, test. I really thought Dave was going to go first.
Yeah, he was losing it.
Dave, in his video he's this yoga guy. He's very athletic and
he lost his grip
was the first one going.
Yeah.
So I'm a little.
And what's her name surprised me?
Oh, Riley.
She surprised me. She hung on there. I was like, oh, she's not going to do too good.
Yeah, when we were watching the beginning videos, we both got the weird feeling that she wasn't taking this game totally seriously. But I mean,
that's the thing, is that they show these clips, but it's the very first, show. You just don't know. You can't really say. As we get to know them all, we'll be able to tell more, but
yeah,
she surprised me.
Red is the typecasted. He calls himself a chillbilly, which I thought was kind of funny. He's from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It looks like a hillbilly. Another former military person, which I would have never guessed.
Yeah.
Looking at him, I would have gone, he's not military. And that reminded me, when he said he was military, it reminded me of Donnie.
Oh, really?
From his season when everybody was like, oh, yeah, he's got to be ex-military. Oh. Like, did you see his boots? Yeah. And, like how his socks and, he's missing... I was like, oh, my God, that's Donnie. It was literally Donnie. This guy's him.
Yeah.
So I thought that... I'll be interested to see. I'm not sure if I like the typecasting there of him. Yeah. I think he may
Sometimes they go over a little board. I know they tell him, like, hey, really play up this country thing, or really play up this, whatever box they're in.
Yeah.
But I think as the show goes on, that always kind of fades a little bit.
Yeah, you start to see more of, the person and not necessarily the typecasted, spot that they were initially put in. And then you had Corey, who ends up being the one that gets eliminated here, which he got pulled into the nether regions.
Okay.
It was the funniest thing ever.
Every time Jolie would say that, I'm like, can we please stop saying?
Can we please call it something else?
Can we call it something else? I couldn't, every time she said it, I kept giggling. I'm like, please stop.
He's getting pulled into the nether regions. I'm like, oh, stop. It really sounded cringe.
It did.
I was like, can't we call it something? He's getting pulled into the darkness. That would have been cool.
The nothingness or something.
Yeah,
I mean, it did make me giggle.
Yeah, I mean, I'll live with the giggle. But yeah, so Corey gets put up for nomination, but he has now disappeared.
For how long? We don't know.
Yeah, for how long? We don't know. But Corey, I think, is a young little stuck-up.
Yeah, I think he's kind of full of himself.
Kind of too full of himself. He's this speech master. He's won 17 national titles and in persuasive speech.
One thing I know from people who are persuasive talkers, it's not a good sign as who they are as a person. I'm just going to say that.
No, I think if anything, he's putting himself in a position that is going to get him eliminated very early on if he starts the persuasive speech that he loves to go to.
Yeah, I mean, it may work for him. I just think he's a little too full of himself. I think it's going to bite him hard. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think it will too. I think I looked over at you when they did his video and I go, he's just way too full of himself.
Yeah, we both have that same feeling.
Yeah. So your 4 nominees going into the head of household competition are Jared, Kirsten, Felicia, and Corey.
Yep.
Looking at those 4 people, who do you think, obviously not knowing who head of household is, who would probably be the leader of who would be the person going home first?
I feel like, it just depends on the comp that they play for veto, who stays, whatever. But if it ends up still being these people, I feel like you're going to want to get rid of Jared. He looks like a really strong player. He's a really likable guy. I don't want him to go home because I'm telling you, he's one of my favorites that I've seen out of here. But for that reason, I feel like they would want to go for him.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Maybe potentially Corey if he rubs enough people the wrong way, if he comes back into the house very early on, if he's not gone for a long period of time.
Yeah.
I could see maybe Corey rubbing some people the wrong way. I think Kirsten and Felicia are both pretty safe.
I think as long as they lay low, I feel like I don't think they're big threats.
Yeah. So then at the very end, we had, Julie talk about that there's, more twists and turns throughout the season. She then says, why don't you guys all go in? You guys can eat, kind of congregate.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, as all the house guests walk into the house, a new house guest had arrived.
Yeah.
And holy shit.
Yeah, this is the part that took me a minute.
So we both sat there and if you saw the short video that I put out earlier today, we were notified from Big Brother that there was going to be a 17th house guest coming and they were going to be arriving tonight. Now, when we hear that there's a 17th house guest coming, we assume that they're probably bringing back somebody from Big Brother past.
Nowhere in my mind did I even think that it would be
who it was.
Anyone out of Big Brother.
Yeah.
That didn't even occur to me, which is awesome. Like I said, I don't really remember this person from Survivor. She looked familiar, but I just couldn't place her.
I think we can both say that we don't necessarily watch Survivor as hard as we do Big Brother. But yeah, she definitely did look familiar, but it is Sherry or Siri. How did I didn't hear how they pronounce her name. So if I'm messing it up, I apologize. It is Siri, but more importantly, it is Jared's mother.
Yeah. And I am going to say this right now. I don't know if y'all saw what I saw. I swear Jared was in the corner talking to Izzy, I think.
Yep,
and it looks like they were, it looks like he was telling the secret. It looks like he was like, don't tell anyone. And I was like, you ain't already doing it, like, right there with everybody around. Like, please tell me he's not that stupid.
He literally sat there in his introduction video going, I'm not going to tell the house guests about who my mother is.
I hope what I saw was wrong. Did you guys see what I saw? Did it look like that? It happened so quick. But my mind went, oh, no, he did not.
Yeah, like, how in the hell were you that dumb? That if you told Izzy your secret, that's, like, it's getting out. If it is right now, as we're recording this, 10:04, if that ain't through the house already, I don't know.
You don't even know anyone. Not that it matters, because you can't trust anyone anyway.
Yeah.
But why are you telling anyone?
Yeah, that's silly. You gotta act like you don't know who that is. Other than, you know she's a Survivor legend. Like, that's it. That's all you should think about, is that it's just a Survivor legend.
I hope he didn't.
Because otherwise, then, he's going home week 1.
Because Izzy's going to use that. She's going to keep it in her back pocket. I would.
Oh, I would too.
And use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
You have him now. He's yours.
Yep. So that was the end of the first episode of Big Brother 25. Gotta say, it was a pretty interesting episode. I liked it. A little
drawn out.
A little drawn out. I get it. You're having to fill an hour and a half episode. Yeah. Thank God it wasn't 2 hours, because then it would have really been drawn out.
Yeah.
But, we got a really good, twist in the game to start us off. Instead of having a head of household competition, we got nominations.
A lot of interesting people. I mean, usually, to start off with, there's at least one person that I'm just like, oh no. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that vibe from everyone. Like, there's a couple people that I'm like, I don't think they're going to do so well, or like, not really vibing with. But I think it's pretty good cast.
Pretty decent cast. There wasn't one person that I was just like, oh God, I hate you. Like, hate's a strong word, but I mean, like, I just don't like your personality. And,
not vibing with.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sorry, I keep coughing.
Oh no, you're all good. So I think a really good twist to the opener of the season, that we got nominations already. Yeah. No head of household, but we will find out who head of household is on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then power veto is on Wednesday, and then Thursday will be the first eviction. So it'll be really interesting to see how this week progresses. Watching the live feeds as much as we can, and if any breaking news comes, breaking news, or somebody goes home, or self evicts, whatever.
Another mental problem.
Oh my God,
it happens. It's real.
Yeah, I just hope that they screened for that this year, because I think Paloma really set.
She wasn't even in the house that long. She went cuckoo fast.
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to make fun of it. Like, mental health is a really real thing, and we really need to watch the people around us and be aware of ourselves and just everything. It's really, but man, she took a turn quick.
Yeah, like it was
in that house.
It was like 0 to like just lost it.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, like that's that, and I think Big Brother probably learned from that last season, and I'm hoping did a little bit more mental, not testing, but just kind of, really learned how everybody's mentalities were.
Before going in, maybe have a psychiatrist, go around and talk to everybody a little bit, see how they're doing, see how they're talking, what, how they feeling.
Yeah, especially since you put them in sequester for literally a week before the show actually begins. Time to do it. Send a psychiatrist to just shoot the shit with them for a little bit and see where they're at. Yep. But so like I said, very interesting start to the season. Very interesting change to the game as we got at the very beginning of the show. But yeah, that was episode 1 of season 25 of Big Brother.
I have to say, I'm very excited. Big Brother is like our favorite thing to watch. this is not going to be the only thing we're going to cover. It's just what we're starting with.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy for us to start with Big Brother because we are such fans of the show. So it was just easy for us. But we'll get into Survivor, the Challenge USA, which we're huge fans of that too.
We'll have to look and see, and you guys can talk to us and tell us like what shows you're into, and I don't know. We'll find other shows to get into, but I am so excited for this season of Big Brother. I just hope it goes really good. I hope it's not boring. I don't know. I really hope this is a good season.
Yeah, it started off on a good note. Let's put it that way. I was a little scared, but they started off on a good note tonight. So I'll be interested for episode 2, but. Guys, let us know what you guys thought of episode 1 of season 25 of Big Brother in the comments section down below. If you guys are listening to this on Spotify, you can go over to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. It is the Oh my God, that was funny. I just loved your point. You can go to the Reality Breakdown on YouTube, and we'll put I'll make sure to put a link on Spotify to our YouTube page, so that you guys can get there. But as we do more podcasts like this, we'll start to appear on more podcasting platforms. Right now, we are on Spotify. So please, if you guys get a chance, listen to us there. Or you can watch us on YouTube and watch the podcast that way. But guys, thank you so much for watching this very first episode or listening to this very first episode. And for Eric Ringel
and Janelle Ringel,
thank you so much for listening to the Reality Breakdown.